As the title of medical interpreter implies, that you are going to be dealing and helping a lot of different medical specialties, it is worthwhile for a medical interpreter to get acquainted with some of these professions. That's why on today's video, I'm going to give you the definition, I'm going to give you the Spanish translation, and a brief explanation of 10 more medical specialties.
Tune in as Interpret Your World's co-founder, Juan Prieto, talks about the highlights of his workday as a professional medical video remote interpreter. If you are aspiring to learn something new and gain insight into what the world of medical interpretation is really like, then you've come to the right place. Follow along as Juan talks not only about his success, but the daily challenges he has to overcome to become a better interpreter each and every day. This is Unwind Sessions with Juan Prieto.
So hello and welcome back. Today is Thursday, September 30th, 2021. And good morning, Alejandro. Hopefully that coffee is already brewing and we are ready to take some interpreting sessions. And I am sure that we are. Let's own it. So today I took a total of 29 sessions, 5 of which were audio sessions. And I have only one highlight, but before we get to the highlights, remember that I have to remind you that we have vocabulary practice videos on TikTok, on YouTube Shorts, on Instagram Reels, which we post to Facebook, and on Kuwai. So there is no excuse for you to not be practicing your vocabulary, your medical vocabulary every day with us. We have 5 platforms to choose from, so go ahead and like us on each and every one and share all of them and practice with us. A new video every day, English and Spanish, to give you the most bang for your buck. All right, and also remember that we are still accepting comments on MIP 21 because when that video reaches 100 likes, we are going to be picking 2 comments at random. Whoever those comments belong to, those people are going to get exclusive links to MIP 22, and we're going to give them a chance to record their interpretation and send them over to us. I forgot to check how many likes that video has so far, but yesterday it had 45, probably 46 today. Fabiola, you said you were going to get us 10 more likes, so probably 55, I'm guessing. I haven't even seen it. But yeah. All right, and also remember that we have a Patreon page for as little as just $1 of your support. You help to motivate us to create much more content, and we give you access to everything on that page. Medical practice videos free of those annoying ads, scripts, answer sheets so you can check what you are interpreting, you record yourself, and then check with the answer sheets, vocabulary list for you to master everything, and much more. All right, remember that it's not going to be just $1 forever. We are going to have tiers someday, so get it today. Most bang for your buck, $1, and you help out an awesome cause. And one last thing, do you have 2 years of medical interpretation, live in the US, Mexico, or Costa Rica, and are looking for employment in either BRI or OPI? Go ahead and send us an email for more info. This is a third-party company. This is the party. I wish it was a party that I worked for, but this is a third-party company that I work for, and let me tell you, it's a very good company. Best company I've ever worked for in Mexico, hands down. All right, and that is it. We are now ready to go into the good stuff. Well, actually, not so yet. The really good goodie stuff, the candy, right? The cream filling, not yet, because I have to give you my highlight of the day. So today's highlight is more of a story of something that happened, nothing really technical or anything, but something worth mentioning. So I was there in VRI session, and all of a sudden everything was going great. I was interpreting for the doctor, I was interpreting for the patient, and everything was great. This was like a normal session, the most normal session you can ever imagine in the world. So they have back and forth, and I was being the bridge, I was communicating, and I was doing everything great. But something happened in the middle of the session. I don't know what. Well, actually, in the end of the session, it turns out that the patient wanted test strips, and the doctor wanted to refill those test strips. But at the end of the session, like, I don't know, what happened. All of a sudden, the doctor starts talking Spanish, telling him that he needs something, but he cannot quite land what the patient needs. And then the patient, in Spanish, by the way, and then the patient starts talking in English, telling the doctor what he needs refilled, but he doesn't land it as well either. And they're struggling. The patient is struggling. He is wasting all of his English knowledge, and the doctor is wasting all of his Spanish knowledge. And I could see that they're struggling, like, no way. And I knew exactly what they wanted. I knew exactly what they needed, because of course I was the interpreter for the whole session. I knew what they wanted, and that had been mentioned before. But I don't know why they wanted to do it in Spanish. Maybe they just wanted to try it out, right? They just wanted a little challenge, I guess, or something. So they were there, they were struggling, they couldn't get nowhere, and then I'm just looking at them like, professional terp over here. I mean, in the iPad. I'm right here, guys. Look at me. I know exactly what you're trying to say. But of course, they didn't look at me. They just ignored me, and they just kept struggling, and they weren't getting anywhere, like nowhere. The doctor was saying something, and then the patient didn't understand them, and the patient just answered something else, but they couldn't land it. They couldn't land it. And then the doctor just got frustrated, probably 3-4 minutes of just struggling, going nowhere, and then he turns over to the patient and he tells me, you know what, let's just use this. At that point, I'm like, well, you could have just done it from the beginning. But of course, who knows what was going on through their head. And since I already know what they needed, I just told the doctor test strips, and that was that. I solved the whole problem. So it just goes to show you, I don't know why some people just refuse using interpreters when they clearly need one, right? And that goes for a lot of conversations that need an interpreter that don't use one, because, well, of course, their services are costly, right? But I mean, they have them there, and it's a requirement. So why not take advantage of it, right? Or just use me as backup or whatever. But I don't know. That was my rant. That was my little highlight for today. And now it's time to get to the goodies, the good stuff. I don't know what I'm gonna call this video. I've already done 10 medical professions, 10 more medical professions. What should I call this? Another 10 more medical professions, okay? Let me just write that down so I don't forget. All right, and let's get started with profession number 1. Oncologist, and in Spanish is oncólogo. Please look at the accent on the O. This is a doctor who has special training in diagnosing and treating cancer in adults using chemotherapy, hormonal therapy, biological therapy, and targeted therapy. A medical oncologist is the main healthcare provider for someone who has cancer. A medical oncologist also gives supportive care and may coordinate treatment given by other specialties. So yes, definitely this is a profession that you will be required to interpret for. I have interpreted several oncology cases, some not so pleasant, unfortunately, but for the most part, some of them with very, very happy results, I should say, or happy diagnosis, or yeah, whatever, happy endings, I guess. Some of them, I don't even want to remember them. So yeah, this is going to be a tough session, and definitely whenever a person has cancer, they will send them to an oncologist to get treated. They are going to be their main doctor, and they can even coordinate care with other doctors that might be required, but the oncologist is going to be the main man to treat cancer. All right, and number two is a neurologist, and in Spanish is neurólogo. And a neurologist is a medical doctor who specializes in treating diseases of the nervous system. The nervous system is made of two parts, the central and peripheral nervous system. That is a vocabulary word, peripheral nervous system. It includes the brain and the spinal cord. Illnesses, disorders, and injuries that involve the nervous system often require a neurologist management and treatment. So I remember there was like a very, very good picture on Facebook. I see it all the time. I saw it lately, probably this week or last week. I don't remember. But it shows you a picture of the brain and then of the spinal cord and all of the nerves that branch out of the spinal cord. And then it tells you, this is you. You are a brain and a spinal cord piloting a bone mech with flesh armor. So I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Why am I telling you this? Well, because before being a medical interpreter, I thought that a neurologist only dealt with the brain. But of course, now I am more learned. I have more knowledge now. I am more educated in the subject, and I know that it is the whole nervous system, not just the brain. So it's practically just our being, right? Because if you think about it, our brain and our nervous systems, they're like, if we didn't have that, we'd be like trees, right? So definitely, a neurologist is one of those professions that I don't get a lot of, but I do get some. All right, for number three is dentist, and in Spanish it's almost the same, dentista, just add an A at the end. And a dentist is also known as a dental surgeon, is a medical professional who specializes in dentistry, the diagnosis, prevention, and treatment of diseases and conditions of the oral cavity. The dentist supporting team aids in providing oral health services. The dental team includes dental assistants, dental hygienists, dental technicians, and sometimes dental therapists. All very, very important dental professions. And I'm pretty sure everybody knows what a dentist is, but maybe some of us are not very clear because there are other professions that when the dentist is not able to do the job, it's out of his scope, he will refer you to someone. And for example, there are the orthodontists who will deal with braces and all of that stuff of the crooked teeth. Then maxillofacial surgeons who reconstruct everything in the face, including like very, very difficult things for dentists to accomplish. Whenever they had to take out my wisdom tooth, which is actually this one, the dentist couldn't do it. She saw me and she said, no, there is no way I'm gonna be getting that impacted wisdom tooth out of there. You need to go see a maxillofacial surgeon. And that's who I went to go see, and they had to break my molar in half because he said it was so stuck you couldn't even get it out in one piece. So there is a limit to what a dentist can do, but they are, for the most part, the first person that you'll ever get to see if there is something wrong with your teeth. All right, number four. Number four is endocrinologist, and in Spanish, endocrinólogo. So, endocrinologist is a doctor who has special training in diagnosing and treating disorders of the endocrine system, the glands and the organs that make hormones. These disorders include diabetes, infertility, and thyroid, adrenal, and pituitary gland problem. So the endocrinologist is the person that makes sure that all of the glands and organs that make hormones are working properly. We know that if the pancreas is not making insulin, then you'll get diabetes. We know that if the ovaries are not making, I forgot. I'm not sure. Estrogen or progesterone, either one of those, then a lady will not be able to have babies. If there's a problem with the thyroid, well, I don't remember very well what the thyroid hormone does, but if there's a problem with the thyroid, you are going to feel tired. You might feel, I'm not sure if hungry, but tired. You might gain or lose weight depending on that stuff. So something's going to go wrong. Adrenal gland. What was the adrenal gland? Is that the one that gives you adrenaline? I think so. I don't know. I don't remember what the adrenal gland does. But the pituitary gland, if I am not mistaken, is the mother of all glands. So if that's not working right, it's not going to send a signal to the rest of your glands to work well. So definitely an endocrinologist is the doctor that you have to see for a problem with your organs or glands that give you hormones for the proper functioning of the human body. Let's go to number five. Number five is an ophthalmologist, and in Spanish is a oftalmólogo. So an ophthalmologist, an IMD, is a medical or osteopathic doctor who specializes in eye and vision care. Ophthalmologists differ from optometrists and opticians in their levels of training and in what they can diagnose and treat. As a medical doctor who has completed college and at least 8 years of additional medical training, an ophthalmologist is licensed to practice medicine and surgery. An ophthalmologist diagnoses and treats all eye diseases, performs eye surgery, and prescribes and fits eyeglasses and contact lenses to correct vision problems. Many ophthalmologists are also involved in scientific research on the causes and cures for the eye diseases and vision disorders. So an ophthalmologist is like the ultimate eye doctor. He can diagnose and he can perform surgery, and he is a doctor, medical doctor for sure. And he is the man that you go to see, or the woman, the doctor that you go to see, if there is a problem with your eye. But for the most part, well, yeah, but no, forget what I was gonna say. There is a story that I have with an ophthalmologist. I wear contacts, and back when I was living in Mérida, Yucatan, in the Gulf of Mexico, I remember that I used to work in a plant that would deal with chemical cleaning supplies. They would make cleaning supplies, soaps, and a lot of stuff. There was a product that they mixed acid, and the smell of the acid was very rough, very what's the word for it? Irritating. It, like, you smelled it and you smelled it and you felt something like just offending your nose, like it was injuring you on the inside. And I blame it on that. All of a sudden my eyes were like really, really red, and I couldn't even put my contacts on or anything. And I went to an ophthalmologist, and the ophthalmologist gave me like the whole pharmacy of eye drops, and eye drops are not cheap, let me tell you. So I spent almost all of my paycheck on those eye drops, and I was all using them, and it didn't work. For 2 weeks, I still had the same problem. Nothing was working. And one of my coworkers at that time, she suggested that I go to, what was it, an optometrist who had various diplomas and stuff in eye health and stuff, and he had a diploma in, or he was specialized in contact lenses or something like that. So I went to this doctor, and this doctor knew the ophthalmologist very well, and then he told me, damn, he got you the whole pharmacy. And I was like, yeah, and my problem's not going away. And then the optometrist, he looked me over, and then he told me, you're just gonna take this and this. It was just 2 drops, and he told me, come back in 2 weeks if you don't get better. I didn't come back, and I got better. So I mean, I'm not telling you this story to because that ophthalmologist was bad or something, but I mean, I went to an ophthalmologist because I had a problem with my eyes and I wanted him to fix it, and he didn't. He couldn't fix it. He didn't find it. I think I should have gone back to the ophthalmologist, but I'm glad that I would have gone back to the ophthalmologist if I hadn't seen my friend, right, my coworker, and she was nice enough to refer me, and problem solved. So I probably didn't really need an ophthalmologist. I probably needed an optometrist, right? But how do you know? How do you know? I mean, my eyes, I didn't want to go blind, so ophthalmologist for sure. So yeah, I mean, it makes me nervous. Anything that has to do with my eyes, of course, I don't want to go blind, so I'm just gonna see the main top doctor for it, even if I have to pay more and gives me things that don't even work. I don't know why, but if it's something to do with my health, I know exactly why, right? Because an optometrician, an optometrician, why am I saying optometrician? An optometrist is not a doctor, and an ophthalmologist is a doctor. So that's why I am always gonna go with an ophthalmologist for my eye problems. Unless I need glasses, I'll just see an optometrist. Number 6. All right, number 6 is Autorinolaryngology, and in Spanish, Otorrinolaryngología, or I'm sorry, Ologist. I wrote the field, not the profession. Right, so I'm sorry about that, but this is otorrinolaryngologist, and in Spanish it is correct, otorrinolaryngólogo. So otorrinolaryngology, abbreviated ORL, is also known as otolaryngology, head and neck surgery, ORL-H and N, or OHNS, or ear, nose, and throat, ENT, is a surgical subspecialty within medicine that deals with the surgical and medical management of conditions of the head and neck. Doctors who specialize in this area are called otorrinolaryngologists, otolaryngologists, head and neck surgeons, or ENT surgeons, or physicians. So for the most part, whenever they send you to an otorrinolaryngology, they will, I think in my whole medical interpreter profession, I have only heard that word once out of a nurse's mouth. For the most part, they will always say ENT or head and neck surgeons. That's what I hear the most. Everything else I've only heard otorrinolaryngology just once. Everything else I have never heard, and I have a story for that too. One time here in my hometown, about 10 years ago, It was summertime and we were all partying. We were at a party from a university here, and I was invited. So we were at the pools and we were over there at the swimming pools, and we're all having fun. And then all of a sudden, I dive into the pool, and this ear goes like kind of deaf. It sounded like if I was underwater and stuff. I couldn't hear, and I went to. We have doctors here and pharmacies. I haven't been to the U.S. in a long time. I don't know if you guys have that as well. I'm pretty sure you guys do, because I think I remember in Walgreens they had a doctor or something like that. I don't know, but here in Mexico we have doctors that are very cheap. You go into and they have them right there at the pharmacy. And I went to one of those doctors because I thought it was nothing major. So he told me to put some eardrops of, what was it? Chamomile, warm chamomile, and that was that. And he said it should get better. Well, I did for 3 days and it wasn't getting better. And at that time I was making a lot of music, so you can imagine how annoying that was. And even if I hadn't been making music, I mean, I just couldn't hear out of one ear. So I went to my otorhinolaryngologist, the only one in town, and it turns out that I had very, very bad earwax, and he took it out, and it was bad, and it hurt my ear so much because it was so impacted in there. It was stuck, and he told the last time he put that thing inside of me, I was like, I'm sorry, doctor, I just can't take it anymore. Like, don't stick anything up in there anymore. And then he said, well, I didn't get the whole thing, so you're gonna have to come back in about 2 weeks to get the rest out of there. And I was like, all right, not a problem. I can hear now. I am good. I went back 2 weeks, and then he cleaned me up, and I haven't been back since. You will never probably hear otorhinolaryngology in English, but in Spanish there is no other way to say it, so you are going to have to say otorrinolaryngologo. All right, for number 7 is a pulmonologist, and in Spanish is neumólogo. Now, do you notice something there? Huh? Who is guilty of interpreting pulmonologist as pulmonologo? Guilty as charged, yes. And I didn't find this out here today. I found this out, I don't know when, but it's been a while since I knew that it's pulmonologist is pneumologist. Of course, I don't know how many times I've probably interpreted as pulmonologo, and pulmonologo does not exist in Spanish. So I hope you guys don't make that mistake. I mean, we are tempted, right? I mean, pulmonologist, pulmonologo, it's not like they're not gonna understand you, but of course it's not correct. So stay away from it, avoid it, and don't ever make that mistake again. Alright, so pulmonology is an area of medicine that focuses on health of the respiratory system. Pulmonologists treat everything from asthma to tuberculosis. So anything that is going on with the lungs, a pneumologist is going to be the doctor to go to. And they specialize only in lungs, respiratory system. Alright, we are almost finished. Number 8 is a podiatrist, and in Spanish is podiatra. And podiatrists are this I didn't know. This I did not know. I learned it today. Podiatrists are medical specialists who help with problems that affect your feet or lower legs. I knew that. They can treat injuries as well as complications from ongoing health issues like diabetes. Yes, I knew that. You might hear them called a podiatric physician or doctor of podiatric physician or doctor of podiatric medicine. Podiatrists are doctors, but they don't go to traditional medical school. That I did not know. They have their own schools and professional associations. They also have DPM, Doctor of Podiatric Medicine, after their names instead of MD, Medical Doctor. Podiatrists can also do surgery, reset broken bones, prescribe drugs, and order lab tests or x-rays. They often work closely with other specialties when a problem affects your feet or lower legs. In the U.S., podiatrists are licensed and regulated by state governments. So I didn't know that. I didn't know that a podiatrist is not an MD. So podiatric, I don't know why. Why do you think they do that? I should probably research into that, right? So I can satiate my curiosity of what's so special about feet that makes them go to a different school, right? One thing that podiatrists do because you have to see a podiatrist if you are a diabetic patient, and they do the testing and they cut the nails of diabetic patients. That's all the experience that I have with podiatrists. I've never had a case where a podiatrist did something else, but of course they do. They do all kinds of stuff for the feet. I've had referrals to podiatrists about different conditions and stuff, but never have I taken a session from a podiatrist other than a diabetes session. All right, number 9, clinical psychologist, psicólogo clínico. So a clinical, well, I'm sorry, that's not what it says. It says clinical psychology is a psychological specialty that provides continuing and comprehensive mental and behavioral healthcare for individuals and families, consultation to agencies and communities, training, education and supervision, and research-based practice. It is specialty in breadth, one that is broadly inclusive of severe psychopathology and marked by comprehensiveness and integration of knowledge and skill from a broad array of disciplines within and outside of psychology proper. The scope of clinical psychology encompasses all ages, multiple diversities, and varied systems. So a clinical psychology, just like the name suggests, is a psychologist that works at a clinic. He works with patients that have problems from mental health to behavioral health. He does counseling for patients, training, education, supervision, all kinds of stuff, right? So they are like the first, for the most part, they're like the first person that a patient sees if they mention the S word. What is the S word? Suicide. If a patient mentions that they want to commit suicide or they want to end their life, they automatically get red flagged. They're like, you ain't leaving the hospital. This has happened too many times in cases where people don't really mean it, but they don't know how serious it is. And of course, it should be taken serious. If somebody says they're going to take their own life, I mean, lock them up, right? Until they no longer have those thoughts. But yeah, I've had several cases where they say the S word and boom, it's like everything changes. There are the doctors just go into suicide mode, and then the patient doesn't even know what's going on, and I didn't really mean it. I'm sorry, you said it. Like, there's no going back. So yeah, and then they said they make sure they see the clinical psychologist first, then the clinical psychologist evaluates them, and once they evaluate them, they will either say, well, you know what, he doesn't meet the criteria, you're not staying here, or they might say, yeah, definitely, we need you to see a psychiatrist and you're going to stay here for 3 days. And then that's when people go like, no, I didn't mean it. And then it's like, well, sorry. And I've had some cases when people really do mean it and they get locked up and they don't even care. They're like, whatever. But yeah, definitely we should never, and this is my opinion, we should never take lightly the mention of someone taking their life, because it's serious. I mean, I've never had those thoughts, but I wouldn't wish to have those thoughts, and I wouldn't wish anybody to have those thoughts. Like, I mean, what pushes an individual, right, to go into those thoughts? But I don't want to end this video on a bad, sad note, so let's just forget about suicide for now. I might have to do another video where I will talk about that, but for now let's go to orthopedist and ortopedista in Spanish. And this is something that I learned today as well. I didn't know this. So an orthopedic surgeon, a physician who corrects congenital or functional abnormalities of the bones with surgery, castings, and bracing. Orthopedists also treat injuries to the bones, sometimes spelled orthopedist. orthopaedist. And what I didn't know, I was using them interchangeably, orthopedic doctor and orthopedist. I thought it was the same, but it's not. It turns out that an orthopedist is an orthopedic surgeon, and an orthopedic doctor is just a doctor. He does everything an orthopedic surgeon does except for surgeries. So I didn't know that. That's news to me, and I've been using those terms interchangeably, orthopedic and orthopedist. So I'm glad I made this video today. That way I learned 2 new things today. So awesome, right? Always good to learn new stuff. So now you guys know it as well, and we have elevated the bar in interpretation a little bit more, right? We have more knowledge. You guys are going in with more knowledge into this field, so that is just what I want to see. So that is pretty much it for me today, guys. Please leave your questions in the comments and I will answer some of them on the next session. Remember that if anything happens to be time sensitive, let me know and I will try to get to it, or I will get to it before the queue. I will try to get to it, but I will do my best. Like, definitely, like if I had something lined up, I'll be like, no, I gotta do this. But sometimes it can't happen, right? So, but for sure, I will do my best and I will try. But I will never give you a half-assed video, that's for sure. All right, remember that I'll be here every Monday through Friday after work. Rain, sleet, hail, snow, I am going to be here. So expect this bald head coming out of your YouTube every Monday through Friday for sure. All right, and I want to send a shout out and a lot of love to all of our Patreons. We love you. Shout out and much love to everyone that has bought us a coffee. Shout out and love to all of our subs, to all of our viewers, and to you that is watching the end of this video. So thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you liked the video and have not done so for much more content, and don't forget to share. Happy interpreting. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Unwind Sessions. Make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. And if you learned something new today, it'd be great if you left us a review. You can also visit us on patreon.com/interpretyourworld or visit our website, interpretyourworld.com. Unwind Sessions.
If you like this video, don't forget to smash that like button. Also, share this video with other beginner interpreters or anyone who can benefit from this information. Thank you all so much for all the support you guys have given us. This means the world to us. Don't forget, we also have social media. We have a Facebook group and a Facebook page. We also have an Instagram and the one I love the most, TikTok. We just recently got a Buy Me a Coffee, and also, if you guys didn't already know, we do have a Patreon account. If you guys would like to support us a little more, we'd love to have you guys over there. And as always, I will be posting all the links to these pages down below in the description box. Thanks for watching!